Welcome to another tidbit of Glen Ellyn history, a story straight from the archives of the Glen Ellyn Historical Society. Today's story is about the two smartest men in Glen Ellyn history. Now, smarts comes in a lot of packages, and I'm quite sure these guys did not have a college education. In fact, it's a fair guess they didn't even finish high school, although Glen Ellyn did have a high school operating in the 1890s, and that's when my two heroes were youngsters in town. So who were these smart guys? Well, I'm talking about the Miller brothers, Herman and Otto Miller. They got their start soon after 1900, driving a wagon pulled by two mules. And that wagon had Glen Ellyn Ice Company painted in big letters on the side of it. They used it to deliver ice to folks who had ice boxes in their homes, which was pretty much everybody in town in the early 1900s, because electricity to power refrigerators wasn't very much available at that point. In fact, legend has it that many ladies in Glen Ellyn decided to keep their ice boxes long after they got electricity. The reason being is that it was the iceman who delivered the neighborhood gossip, as well as the ice. News that wouldn't necessarily show up in the local newspaper. Obviously, it doesn't take a lot of smarts to drive a pair of mules and lug big blocks of ice. So why do I think these guys go down in history as two of the smartest men in Glen Ellyn? Well, it's because of what they did after the ice delivery business. In 1904, they had a vision, or at least an idea, and they staked their future on that vision. Way off in the distance, they saw something called an automobile chugging toward them, at least figuratively speaking. In 1904, there were exactly 4 automobiles in Glen Ellyn. And that's when the Miller brothers decided to chuck the ice business and set up an auto repair shop in their old ice house. Fortunately, those 4 cars were owned by wealthy families and they needed a lot of maintenance. It was enough to keep Herman and Otto in business. But the brothers didn't stop with just fixing cars. Again, they saw the future of things. In 1913, they built Glen Ellyn's first auto dealership. And in that dealership, they sold Maxwell's and Chalmers. Now, some of you may be old enough to remember the Jack Benny radio show. He owned a Maxwell. The Miller brothers built this auto dealership on Crescent Boulevard, smack dab next to the old Nadelhofer livery stable, which to me was an ironic juxtapositioning. A car business next to a horse business, and that car business would soon put Nadelhofer's horse business out of business. Did it take smarts to do what the Miller brothers did? Well, I'll leave that up to you, but in retrospect, it certainly turned out to be a very smart move, and they prospered. If you're wondering where that first auto dealership was located, well, here's a clue. Nadelhofer's was torn down in 1926 to make way for the Glen Movie Theater. The Miller Brothers car dealership was located just west of that building. Next time you get a cup of coffee in Starbucks on Crescent, you'll be standing in the Miller Brothers' old showroom. And that's today's tidbit of Glen Ellyn history. Thank you for listening.